Twin Peaks is a masterclass show in terms of gaslighting an audience. So much of this universe is shrouded in mystery, from the cryptic, uncanny dialogue to the multi-layered storytelling. Think about all the references to dreams.
Do you know where dreams come from?
Not specifically.
Acetylcholine neurons fire high-voltage impulses into the forebrain. These impulses become pictures. The pictures become dreams.
Now contextualize the idea of a dream with the sounds in show. People speaking in reverse.
Sometimes my arms went back.
Or how about the haunting calls from a foghorn in the distance? Visuals also convey this idea to the audience. The wind rustling through the trees tells us a story. People often claim that David Lynch's art is meaningless or intentionally challenging, but this sentiment isn't true. To appreciate a work, you have to understand an artist's mind space. Let's look at some examples. Lynch is a person who likes to follow strict routines. Every morning, he shares the local weather report on his YouTube channel. He eats the same meal almost every day. When directing, people are often confused by his requests until the bigger picture comes together. So how do these character traits relate to Twin Peaks? A gust of wind often signifies that something pertinent is about to happen in the narrative. Cooper's character epitomizes routines and habits. He always orders cherry pie and coffee as a source of comfort. Twin Peaks is confusing as hell until the end when everything comes together. Television and film are powerful ways to blur the line between fiction and reality. A sick yet beautiful dream that could serve as an escape from the real world. Gaslighting is a horrible tactic that can psychologically destroy a victim. But in filmmaking, used in the correct way, gaslighting can create an air of allure like no other. The Arm is so fascinating because there isn't a right or wrong answer concerning his character. We aren't given loads of exposition because Lynch wants the audience to come to their own conclusions. All these components elevated this series to something tangible. Twin Peaks feels real in a way other shows could only dream of. People were on the edge of their seats every week, dying to know who killed Laura Palmer. Heated discussions took place as the investigation started to take form. To say Twin Peaks was a cultural phenomenon is an understatement. Everyone became Cooper, treating this make-believe story like fact instead of fiction, concocting their own theories based on all the evidence. People existed in a similar dreamlike state as the characters. Was the Laura Palmer case actually taking place? Obviously not, but the audience's reactions tell a different story. Twin Peaks became real to some people, a dream that they could escape in. So today, I want to break down how Twin Peaks Season 1 used gaslighting to forever change the TV world. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like and sub button so you always see my latest content. David Lynch has a cult following for good reason. His cinematography, sound mixing, and creative vision are enthralling. Combining these elements with Mark Frost's superb character writing created the amazing show we all know and love. Twin Peaks was developed during a time when crime peaked in the United States. As society continued to atomize, people felt more and more distance from violence. Reverence for life didn't feel the same as murder numbers drastically rose. Laura Palmer's death in the series challenged our change in values. Every person felt deeply saddened by the loss of a close friend. This is where the gaslighting begins. You have to give the cast credit because they go Super Saiyan in terms of acting. When watching, we almost feel like Laura was real based on everyone's reactions. In Game of Thrones, a character's death is shocking, but people move on quickly. So much is happening in the narrative, we can't always wait around to grieve. But in real life, death can change our lives forever. Twin Peaks embodies this sentiment in a truly powerful fashion. Andy, Leland, and Sarah uncontrollably cry. Donna becomes more outgoing. Audrey tries to win over Cooper by helping in the investigation. These transformations in character blur the lines between fiction and reality. People change after they lose someone close to them. In this TV show, life matters. After seeing the way these people cope, we get sucked into the dream. Speaking of dreams, what's the significance of dreaming in Twin Peaks? Cooper gets insight into the investigation while asleep. Almost every person talks about feeling confused, caught in a dreamlike state.
It's like I'm having the most beautiful dream and the most terrible nightmare all at once.
As we are gaslit, so are the members of the show. But before we dissect these encounters, let's dig a little deeper. What is a dream? Usually when we sleep, our bodies recover. When we enter rapid eye movement, or REM, our brains enter a heightened state of recovery. In this stage, we can conceptualize versions of reality outside of our own. I can be a fish that swims through a percolator, for example. Think about the lack of distinction between dreams and filmmaking. A movie is just a dream that someone has realized into the physical world. When we watch Twin Peaks, we are entering a dream. As everyone's confusion grows, we get more invested in a way. No one understands all the crazy stuff that's been going on since Laura died. When we experience a tragedy, a similar sensation occurs. When my mom passed away, I felt like nothing was real for a while. I was caught in the same twisted dream as these characters. Everyone in Twin Peaks feels human. They react the way humans would and make irrational decisions. Their references to dreams could be the way they cope with stress, or a way for these two to gaslight us further. A state of confusion is the perfect way to add realness to a piece of media. Oftentimes, television offers a sense of wish fulfillment in some shape or form. A reserved, nerdy person might look up to Willow from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Someone with a deep sense of justice could idolize Matt Murdock from Daredevil. I love both these characters, but neither is realistic. Contrast this to Twin Peaks, and I feel like every one of us has met Shelley at some point. Realistic characters, mixed with human emotional reactions, help enrapture the audience. Sound is very important to David Lynch, which is immediately apparent when watching. The dialogue is crystal clear. Ambient noises sit in the background, never overpowering but present. Then there's the atmosphere. Wind and foghorns both have a relevance to the dream state in Twin Peaks. How do we start dreaming? We close our eyes and eventually drift off to sleep. To progress our dreams, our body needs air. Just like the investigation in Twin Peaks is spurred on by the wind. Our breathing powers the dreams, as TV ratings allow a show to continue airing. Snoring is represented in the foghorns, a subtle reminder to keep us on our toes as audience members. Is any of this real, or are we dreaming? Music also helps add to the immersion. If the main theme doesn't put you to sleep, I don't know what will. Audrey's track is the perfect background song for any setting. I mean, come on, one of the songs is even called The Dance of the Dream Man. But nothing in the show is more gaslighting than the self-awareness of the medium. Twin Peaks tells the story of real people caught in a television show. Everyone feels like they are in a dream because that's what film is. Much of the dialogue makes the audience feel like the characters have a greater level of self-awareness than they let on. Then there's the show called Invitation to Love, which people in Twin Peaks watch, that tells an almost identical story. Is everyone in on the joke? Even this question distorts our perceptions of reality. When we dream, we often have similar levels of awareness. Something weird or wacky in a fantasy we construct can remind us we're asleep. We all feel lost in life sometimes. Dancing without really knowing why. Or being driven by an unseen force like the wind. But stopping to appreciate the little things in life, like coffee and cherry pie, can bring us back to reality. Thanks for checking out this video. I really appreciate it. David Lynch and Mark Frost created something truly spectacular with the first season of Twin Peaks. Watching TV is a fun escape from reality, but very rarely do we actually dive into a fictional world. A world so enrapturing that we begin to question what's real. The fact that this series is still hotly discussed today demonstrates how much media can influence our culture. Coping with loss is exceptionally difficult. Twin Peaks reminds us to never forget to dream, to hold on to the legacy of those we love, and how much a single person's life can make a difference. Did Twin Peaks ever gaslight you? How do you interpret the dream imagery? I'd love to hear from you.